The despair within the ranks of the true believers over the state of the Labor movement, the fate of the Gillard Government and the future of unions has been on display for the past 3 days at the ACTU Congress in Sydney. The convention has witnessed a rare burst of public soul-searching after weeks of punishing publicity over the goings-on of Craig Thompson, the Health Services Union, and Speaker Peter Slipper. And the Slipper scandal took another bizarre turn late today when the man who has accused the Speaker of sexual harassment lodged a complaint with the Human Rights Commission claiming he was victimised by the Foreign Minister Bob Carr in comments made on Twitter. Senator Carr's in Japan and I'll speak to him shortly. But first, this report from political editor Heather Hewitt.
Here we go. When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever.
It's a measure of the state of the Labor movement that it has to highlight its stars of the past to rally the troops in very troubled times.
Whenever people say you're put down or you're going to get beaten or you're going to get destroyed, the one thing you always should say is not without a fight. Never without a fight.
Bill has that one quality that all effective leaders must have, and that is he is persuasive.
Why is the Australian Labor Party so unpopular? Well, in some sense, it's got me beat. In some sense, it's got me beat. The polls are devastating. The election results in New South Wales and Queensland, in some sense, even more devastating. It beggars belief, really, in the political maxim that's the economy, it's the economy, it's the economy.
Whatever it is, a positive message for the Labor government is not cutting through. And everyone at the ACTU Congress this week knew it, amid fears of a wipeout at the next election.
I can read the opinion polls and I'm under no illusions about the depths of the political challenges that confront our government.
I do not believe that the best days of the Labor movement are behind it.
The fact that this even had to be said tells you something.
That as difficult as the political climate is at the moment, we shouldn't hang our heads and be pessimistic and set the councils of negativity and fear. Instead, I'd like to put to you today that when the Labor movement, be it political or trade union, when we choose to lead, not follow, then we have our finest accomplishments ahead of us.
Safety, dance.
It's a gathering of union delegates that only happens every 3 years, a chance to air their varied visions and complaints. Overshadowing this one was the fundamental concern that the Health Services Union scandal and grave questions surrounding exiled Labor MP Craig Thompson had further damaged the Labor brand.
It's hugely disturbing and offensive that the union movement is having to deal with what is, in my mind, a completely unacceptable way of dealing with workers' money.
Of course I'm worried about the reputational damage to trade unions. I spent 25 years of my life working as a union official.
If we ever sniff anything like what occurred in the Health Services Union again, then we have an obligation as the leaders of the movement today to wipe that out ourselves and to go after those people.
Despite the government's slight improvement in a post-budget opinion poll this week, there's still bewilderment in some sections of the industrial wing about why the Prime Minister and her team didn't take steps sooner to act on the Craig Thompson affair. A difference of opinion too on whether the union movement should act to distance itself from the government.
The trade union movement and the Labor Party should be actually more prepared to have conflict and differences of opinion publicly. I think that's actually for a healthy democracy. I think that actually works.
Yes, we do have to look at the relationship and not see it as set in concrete.
There's plenty of things I don't agree with the Federal Labor Party about at the moment. But overall, I think it's in the interests of the members of the AWU that we have in Canberra a political party that acts in the interests of all Australians.
It's a long time ago now since the industrial and political wings of the Labor movement united under the Hawke-Keating government to form the Wages and Incomes Accord, and there's no sign of that ever happening again. But there is increasingly a call to arms to try to avoid a landslide against Labor at the next election.
It is, I think, an important time for us. An important time for us to regroup and take collective responsibility.
What the community appears to want more than anything right now is a cleaner parliament that's not dogged by scandals surrounding the HSU and Craig Thomson and the Speaker Peter Slipper. The government is paying a heavy price for both. Until recently, New South Wales Labor was also paying Craig Thomson's legal fees. After queries from at least one party elder this week, it's agreed to reveal to party members the full extent of funds paid out in July.
I think it's fair for the party members to know how much the bill is, so I don't think there'd be any drama about that at all.
But there was more drama today surrounding the allegations of sexual harassment against the Speaker Peter Slipper. The staffer making the claim, James Ashby, upped the ante when he lodged a complaint of victimisation with the Human Rights Commission. He was targeting Foreign Affairs Minister Bob Carr and National Senator Barnaby Joyce, objecting to Senator Carr's tweet recently that Ashby seems more rehearsed than a kabuki actor. Barnaby Joyce was cited as saying Ashby seems only less dodgy than Slipper. Mr Ashby said he saw these comments as an attack on his integrity. This, of course, is separate to his federal court case against Peter Slipper.
But the Commonwealth Government solicitor late this afternoon raised a lengthy list of problems with the case lodged by James Ashby, saying he took no steps to resolve the issues raised and didn't warn anyone in the government he intended to take legal action. The statement also voiced concern the Ashby application was widely reported on websites within hours of it being lodged. This gives some idea of the government's approach when a directions hearing gets underway in the federal court tomorrow.
Political editor Heather Hewitt.